listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to Bad Radio.
Hello and welcome to Bad Radio. BAD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to noon every Sunday. And I am your host, Angela Smarito. And in studio with me, we have two new guests. So please welcome Dr. Gideon Lewis with Foot and Ankle Sports Medicine Institute. And next to him, we have Shelby Abbott. She is with 360 Medspa Collective. Now, Dr. Lewis, you're with 360 Medspa Collective, but we're going to get into how that whole thing kind of works. But you guys, thank you so much for being with us today on Bad Radio. I know like getting all set up is always a little bit fun. You're like, wow, this is a lot of really expensive equipment in here. It is a little fancy. So, all right. So, Dr. Lewis, when did you and I meet first? It's been a minute.
It might be almost a decade.
Yeah. I think I worked in this building back then.
Probably.
When we met.
The way I calculate is based on your son, his age.
Right. Well,
I think he was in Little League at the time when I met him.
Right. He was in travel ball. Dr. Lewis did treat my son, Aiden. He had a knee issue, and I remember we had met before, so you're the first person that my husband and I thought of to bring Aiden to you. So let's talk a little bit about the sports, the foot and ankle. So how long have you been, well, tell the audience a little bit about that practice.
Sure. So, well, first of all, thanks for having us on the show.
Of course. I was stalking you. Don't you remember? I was like, I promise. That's a real radio show. I'm not making it up.
I'm pretty accessible. So I know I started my practice about 19 years ago. It's hard to say that number because it feels like it was just yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I started organically with like literally 0 patients, but I've always had a passion towards sports medicine.
Are you from Orlando originally? Or where did you relocate here from another state or another place?
Born and raised here,
okay.
and in Orlando.
Right.
So this is my home turf.
Right. Love it.
Yeah. So I've always wanted to practice in my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very blessed. I was able to open up a practice about 19 years ago, and I've always had a passion towards sports medicine.
I was wondering what led you to that.
I don't know. I think like most kids, like you're active in sports, but with my height restrictions, I started getting involved in tennis. I actually got really good in tennis.
Okay.
And I ended up playing in college.
Okay, very nice.
But I knew that was probably going to be the end of the road. So I was like, I better pick up my books and study. So then I started going to pre-med route. And then going through medicine, I was like, I still want to make sure I do something that incorporates sports. So that's why I still have a passion for sports medicine.
So you did mention to me, I'm going to do a little plugging for him, is how many patients do you have that are in the Olympics right now?
So I've been very blessed. I deal with like everyday athletes as well as professional athletes and including Olympic athletes. And this time around, I think I've counted, it's about 14.
That's amazing.
There was one athlete that I saw during the opening ceremonies.
Oh,
and
really?
like literally hold it like one of the flag bearers. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's
so-and-so. I know that.
That's so-and-so. I was like, oh, yeah. So, no, it's been great because, I dealt with a strong relationship and knowing how much they work behind the scenes to get to that level. And for me to be part of that journey, I don't take it for granted. It's very humbling and it's such a great privilege. And when you see them on the podium, like,
that would
it gives me
like,
goosebumps
yeah,
every time.
full of pride, especially because you've seen them for such a long time. You've probably seen them since they were really young. I mean, young adults before where they are now.
No, that's a good point. I see them literally from the beginnings of their professional career, and then when you see them at the peak, for the Olympics,
right?
That's every 4 years. I mean, this is that one moment, especially the track and field athletes. You're talking about in like the 100 meters, they train 4 years for 10 seconds.
I know, that's insane.
It's yeah.
How much does injury play a role with these athletes? Because I can see like a broken toe or something like that really put a damper in their training.
I mean, it depends on the sport, but anyone at that level, there's going to be a lot of breakdown in your body. So they spend a lot of time in the recovery stage.
Okay.
So I mean, even just a small little tweak. Let's say it's a hamstring strain, or let's say it's a calf strain. Almost like you Simone Biles when she had that little calf injury. I mean, if it was a little more severe, I mean, that could have set her out, and that that could jeopardize a potential medal. So when they come to me, it's usually something small. I also treat like anything major as well, but.
So when they come to you, and I'm guessing a lot of them it's like word of mouth. So now you're kind of at this stage in your career where you're like, okay, they know me, they're going to refer other people to me. So you really don't have to do too much on the marketing part of things to get the name out about your practice, I'm assuming.
Well, and I'm still dependent on, getting my name out there.
Right.
And, a lot of these athletes, they have a large following on social media.
That's what I was thinking. Is that
so? A lot of times they share their story about even their the medical aspect with their followers, and my name gets plugged here and there.
Well, that's definitely a good thing. Are you able to share some of the like recovery stories? Because I once you talk more with me, I love stories. I love to hear like they came to me and they had this and they thought it was the end, and then this happened. I hate to put you on the spot like that.
No, you're not putting me on the spot. I mean, this is what I do for a living. So, with the interesting about these athletes, I actually study the sports more than the medicine.
That's really interesting.
So when you talk about even just like a track and field runner, most people think, oh, they just run fast, run around a track. But there's a big difference between like the 100 meters versus the 200 meters. Understand the biomechanics when you go around the curve. What it does to like your body, the stride, what it does to your legs and muscles. So you had to understand that the sport's very, very specific.
So you would treat a patient differently depending on the sport that they do?
The approach is definitely different.
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
I would never even thought about
especially
that.
a sprinter versus like a long distance runner. I mean, it's just like different muscles that they're using more. I mean, you could tell their bodies, right? A marathon runner versus a 100-meter sprinter, one looks like a bodybuilder, the other one looks like a very lean machine.
I think I might have already told you this, but do you guys know what is the most? If you know the answer, don't say it. But Shelby, do you know what the most watched sport in the Olympics is?
I think that I think that he had said something to me.
All right. No.
Is it not swimming?
No, it's not swimming.
Well, I just found out they do shooting.
There's breakdancing in the Olympics now.
Yeah, that might break a record.
No, it's actually women's gymnastics is the number one viewed sport in the Olympics. And the reason I know that is because we sell advertising. And so I know that like during women's gymnastics, that's when the ads cost the most money. So, but I'm like, congratulations to the success of your practice. So what we're going to do is now talk about how that led into the 360 Medspa. So when we met last week, we talked about this a little bit, and I'd like you to kind of just repeat that story a little bit about what you were seeing and what made you develop this idea, this concept, which has now come to life.
With my practice, I try to provide comprehensive care. We talked about recovery is such a huge aspect in treating an individual, but so in that, most of the recovery facilities that are needed are things such as control inflammation, things to help basically repair your body, massage therapy, and so on. So I thought, instead of referring those out to different facilities, why don't I just have my own place that can have a collective approach? But the facility is not just for athletes.
Right.
I also want to incorporate also some aesthetic needs, as well as just like, I guess we talked about body recovery, but also since I'm a foot and ankle specialist, obviously I see a lot of feet and as well as nails. Right. So people will come to me all the time, say, hey, where should I go get a pedicure? And truthfully, I don't know, because most places do not use an autoclave or the proper sterilization process.
Right.
And so the risk of infection is pretty high. I deal with infections from bad pedicures almost daily.
That's so crazy, and it gives me the heebies a little bit
I know.
too, because I think about how many times I get pedicures.
Yeah,
a lot.
That no.
So on my med spa, I was like, let me incorporate a nail salon that's gonna be comprehensive. It's not just for those looking for like the fancy, the gels and acrylics, but also for even like everyday athlete or someone just wants to come in for a sports pedicure or a regular pedicure in the most clean and sanitized manner.
Ooh, you know what music means? It means we're going to break. So hold that thought, and when we get back, we're going to pick up where we left off. So stay tuned for more Bad Radio coming up.
Welcome back to Bad Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of Bad Radio is brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore. Summer is here, and it is so hot out, so it's a time for a trip to Premier Couple Superstore. They have a huge selection of lingerie, shoes, toys, games, love oils, and a ton of great gifts. 5009 South OBT, or shop online at premiercouples.net, because a couple that plays together stays together. I know I have great sponsors, but Premier Couple Superstore has been my sponsor since day one, like when I came up with the idea. And they're a great sponsor. So we're here with Dr. Gideon Lewis and also with Shelby Abbott, and we were just started talking about the 360 Medspa Collective, and Dr. Lewis just started talking about like the concept behind it. So you were treating people, and you were referring business out, and you're like, you know what? I'm referring it. Why refer this out when I can like bring it in, and then also I can make sure that people are getting quality care, which I think is amazing. And the best part too is that they're connected to each other. Can you tell everybody what the address is there? So it's right off of Wymore, right?
Certainly, it's we're conveniently located right off of I-4 on the Lee Road exits, right on Wymore. And it's on the second floor,
right?
And that's where my medical practice is. And the adjacent suite is the med spa. And then, Shelby, what is your role with the med spa?
I'm the spa manager.
Nice. Okay. So what all does that include?
So basically just his side, so the nail services and the sauna, just making sure everyone's on schedule, ready to go, everything works properly, people coming through the door,
right?
Getting a good experience.
Very nice.
Customer service. So,
very nice.
Yeah.
I wanted to jump back to the nail part, because what were you saying about the sterilization process?
So, I mean, not to get too detailed, but in a nutshell, in surgery and the medical side, obviously those are more invasive procedures than a pedicure or nail treatment, obviously. But there are times where the skin can be broken, and if there are spores from fungus or bacteria that get inside a wound, then if the instrument's not fully sterilized, then you're going to get an infection.
Right.
And I think it was maybe this past week, I believe it was maybe the Wall Street Journal, but there was actually a national newspaper or magazine that did a big article on pedicure infections in the summertime, how it's on the rise.
I do remember reading an article about Paula Abdul getting a terrible, because she was a dancer, a terrible infection from that, and like I said, it kind of put a stopper in her dancing for a while. So I want to talk about your practice more on the that part of it. But as a consumer, what should we look for to make sure that we see when we are looking at a salon?
There's so many things behind the scenes that they do, and part of it is you just have to trust the process. But usually, my litmus test, as I say, is if you go to any nail salon,
right?
Literally ask them, what settings do you put your autoclave on?
Autoclave, okay.
If they look at you like you have two heads,
then don't go there.
Then they probably don't use it, and they probably are not using sterilized equipment.
And that's frightening. Well, that's really good to know.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some of the other items that are at services that are at the med spa.
So I call this 360 Medspa Collective because we want to be your retreat for complete care and total wellness, and that includes, we have an infrared sauna that's a medical grade. We have we do some aesthetics we have a facial person who specializes in facials, and we talk about the nail salon, comprehensive nail treatments. We have a sports nutritionist.
Right. Let's talk about that just for a minute. So what all does that entail?
So the sports nutritionist, her name is Tara Gaitis Collingwood, and she's a former Orlando Magic team nutritionist,
Very
as well
nice.
as she was with UCF Athletics.
Very nice.
And as well also USTA. She is just a wealth of knowledge, and I'm very blessed to have her to work with alongside of her. But she also does sweat testing, and also body composition evaluations.
Okay. Well, I know that what was it that everybody used to talk about all the time? Was it BMI, body mass index? And from what I understand, that's not even like a legitimate thing to base your body's composition on, because it just has to do with like your height and your weight, when there's so many other things that play a factor in it. But I'm glad to hear that too, because it always told me that I was like obese. And I'm like, it's lying.
It's muscle. I promise, it's muscle.
Well, yeah, like if somebody might be like tall but muscular or whatever, you know what I mean? Because muscle weighs more than fat, so I think it's a good thing that they have that they're actually coming around to something other than that. And then, did you say massage therapy? Mm-hmm. Okay. And okay, so that's the whole collective right there. Are you bringing any other ones in, or is that's going to be the max for now?
Well, we also have a sports recovery lounge that.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so it's I made it like a lounge that way. It has all the different tools. Mm-hmm. We partner with Hyperice. That's one of the world's leading sports recovery companies. Mm-hmm. You'll see it in the Olympics, the NFL, NBA. That's kind of like it's almost becoming this standard practice as far as recovery. So we have a lot of their tools, compression devices, massage guns. And the beauty is, next door is my practice. So when you ask about incorporating more services, there'll be some type of bridge between both where I could even do like laser therapy, which we already do at my office.
Right. And what is laser therapy for again? I'm sorry.
Laser therapy, it's it's kind of a generically used term, but the ones we use is for therapeutic. So to basically help get more blood circulation, promote
for recovery then?
For recovery, promote stem cells. So it helps in the recovery process.
Right. Well, I'm curious about the compression, because you showed me the compression thing, and how does that actually help? Okay, so when people book for the recovery room, is it after they've done like a triathlon, or what situation do they come in there and utilize that type of?
So just think of that as almost like a massage.
Right.
In your body, you have arteries, you have veins, but you also have lymphatic vessels. And lymphatic vessels are the vessels that really kind of take away all the waste, the lactic acid and so on. So with this compression devices that we have, there are sleeves that have sequential compression, where one chamber starts from the bottom of the lower extremity, or we have the upper extremity, and it sequentially compresses, and that basically kind of milks out and pushes out all that excessive fluid.
Right. So it's basically like a cleansing kind of thing. And then you said it will help with people if they have like swollen ankles, or if they've just done something in their feet or killing them and they need that kind of
100%. Even for like, imagine you're on a flight, they recommend compression socks.
Right. I was always wondering what that was for. For people that sit for a long period of time.
Exactly.
That's interesting. So question, is it better to sit all day or stand all day?
It's better to move. How about that?
Okay, yeah. Well, because I remember it got really trendy for a while for everybody to like these standing desks, right? And so people would be like working on their computer while they're standing. I'm still sitting slouching. I'm like, maybe
I think it's probably better for your posture when you're standing upright. But I don't believe in rest. You got to keep moving.
Right. We have a therapist, and he comes on here and he always says the best position is your next position. That's his quote. So I'm going to have to give him credit for that. And then let's talk about the website. I'm looking at the clock. So I want to start talking about the website a little bit, and then we're going to go to break and we're going to come back. So what is the website? Yeah, go for it, Shelby.
Yeah, so it's 360 Medspa Collective. Front page, you have Gideon and I, just so people know exactly who started, where it came from. And then we just have a list of all of our services. It just kind of goes into description about what everyone's doing.
Right, all the services.
Right, goes into detail, very user-friendly, straight to the point.
And that's kind of like your footprint, not your footprint, but that's where you direct people to go to book sessions, right?
Yeah, that is like our home base,
right.
The website.
Do you have people call and be like, what about this or what about that? Or like I said, right now, you guys are still in that really opening stage, right?
Yeah, we've had a lot more people come from next door and walk over and mainly get like a tour of the place. I've done that a couple of times already. So I feel like that's been the main thing.
And then once do you offer them like to come get booked, and then you go on, you know what? I just realized I started to talk on a whole nother topic here. So you guys hang tight, because we're going to go to break, and when we get back, we're going to have more Bad Radio.
Welcome back to Bad Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar. And don't miss out on Frogger's amazing menu where everything is fresh, Never frozen, with 4 great locations, there is bound to be one near you. Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Froggers, hopping with food and fun. All right. So he always puts my little sound effects in there for me. So we're here with Shelby Abbott. Why do I want to call you Abby? I think she reminds me of my daughter's friend, Abby. That's why
I look like an Abby.
You could. Okay. But we're with Dr. Lewis and Shelby, and we're talking about 360 Medspa Collective. And so we started to talk about the website a little bit. And during the break, I mentioned that that's kind of like your connection to the outside world. So I've heard about you now, and I'm going to get on your website. So walk me through. I'm just like, I want to check it out now. And then, maybe I want to book some stuff for like myself and a couple of girlfriends, or myself and my daughter. So, when you're putting that together, what was that process
User
like?
friendly. That's the main goal. And almost like kind of like Uber Eats, I should say, where you can go in there and just like pick out whichever type of food you want.
Right.
So it's like an easy process.
So you can build your own package then.
You can. So let's say, so the website basically kind of gets something informational. And then there's book now. And so let's say you and your girlfriends, for you, let me just ask you, what would be important services for you?
Like a mani-pedi would be a wonderful day.
So mani-pedi. So you go in there.
Shelby's like, yeah.
So when I designed the menu, it's very easy. So it's not like some of the high-end spas, let's say the hotel, let's pick on them a little bit.
Let's go ahead, because I'm agree with you.
So some of them, it's a little overwhelming. They talk about all these different wraps and all this and this, and you're almost like, you get overwhelmed, like, what the heck do I order?
Right, and then you don't know what's what. You're like, well, that sounds good, and then this one's got this, and yes, I totally agree.
Yeah, so I keep it simple. Where even for like the manicures and pedicures, we have a classic, a signature, and a luxury.
Okay,
and
I can compute that.
Yeah, and so if you actually look at the details, they're all the same, except for each layered, the signature and the luxury. They all have a little extra services and a little longer time.
Okay.
So we just kind of keep it very, user friendly. That's essentially what it is. So it's
when they hand you the card and it's got like all it's
8
like
of them.
2 pages of, and this one has lemon, this one has honey, and you're like, I don't know. I just want to get my feet rubbed and my toes pretty.
And also because I want to make this for all ages, and some people are just not the best, for tech or tech savvy. So when I developed this, I was like, I just want to make this like dummy proof, where you could easily just go on 360 Medspa Collective. You click on the book now. You see all the different services, very straightforward. You click what you want. If you want multiple services, click as many as you want. It kind of calculates all the times based on how much is allotted for each service.
Okay.
You pay right there, or just put your credit card. That way, it's just, there's no phone calls, there's no middle person. It's just a nice, clean process and very transparent.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that that's wonderful. And then also the cleanliness of it, like the clinical part, we know that everything is sterilized the way it needs to be.
Well, just my medical practice, I had to do that. I mean, there's very strict, regulations with the Department of Health, and so that's just the only way I know how to practice and do business. So I've incorporated that in my med spa. That's, for me, that's like the utmost importance is safety and cleanliness.
Yeah, I'm curious, how close is it to what you had originally envisioned? Like when you came up with the concept, what you have right now, how close is it to what you had thought it was going to be?
It's better.
Is it?
It's definitely better.
That's amazing.
It's definitely better. I brought Shelby in because
How did you two meet?
So, we have mutual friends, and I was looking for someone with experience dealing with like high-end hotels as well as high-end retail. People with like, like from a managerial and hospitality standpoint. And so I brought her in, and she's really the brainchild with a lot of the decor and just really.
Oh, the place is decorated lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ann and I were there.
A lot of pressure.
You don't understand. I'm like really into that sort of thing too.
Okay.
But what? For me, the most important thing is the experience, and I want people not just have amazing service, but I want them to walk out of there with the feeling that, I feel almost like I was at a retreat.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And where they feel like a little bit of serenity.
I know that, there's been times where I've known people that have gone to salons and they came out more stressed than they were when they went in, just because of the chaos that was going on, the communication. There was like so many things. It was like, that was a terrible experience. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, because I probably am the one who told you to go there in the first place. But So let's talk a little bit about like what you guys have planned for the future. I had to chuckle a little bit, Dr. Lewis, when you said, it's like the bros are going to have like a bachelor party here.
He's had a lot of those ideas.
Well, just because
I was like, alrighty.
Yeah.
Only because a lot of my guy friends, I mean, truthfully, they're a little hesitant to go get pedicures. And I'm like, man, get your feet done, you know? And it's like, where do I go? So I kind of make it friendly for everyone.
Because he's like, we'll put football on the
will.
television.
That's the luxury of, I can create whatever I want. Guess what? I'm going to have Olympics on all day. Or guess what? For Sunday, for college football, we're going to have college football Saturdays.
Right. Well, what does that look like? Are you guys thinking about having like little get-togethers, like parties that people can pay a certain amount?
100%,
That's exactly what you want.
Talk to me. I want to hear about it.
No, I mean, if people want it, we're going to bring it.
Okay.
And we'll provide it.
Right.
So I think it'd be great for this facility. What goes from our vision was not just you go by yourself, but hey, guess what? Either mother or daughter, husband and wife, you and a girlfriend, or whatever the situation is, or I can cater it. So if someone says, hey, I like to do this, the beauty is, all right, let's make it happen.
Right. You mean like bring food in and set it up?
Not really bring food in, but as far as like bring in, if you want to do like a party, like you said,
gotcha.
We can make those accommodations. So guess what? We'll shut down the whole place.
I see bachelorette party or like written all over it.
Yeah.
Like a whole day there with the mani and the pedis and the massage, and like just they wouldn't have to leave. You wouldn't have to go anywhere, and they could just stay there all day long, and that would be such a cool experience.
Nope, and that's later on we'll see how things develop. But since we're just kind of in its infancy, we're excited. It's better. It's much better, and the final result as far as the decor, the build out, and the infrastructure, I can't be more pleased. I think it's
it's lovely.
I can't wait. It's been my labor of love,
right? Yeah.
And I can't wait. And I can't wait to share it with the public. And
well, we walked in. It was funny too because we both were like, "That's a great logo. I love it," And he was like, "Yeah, I put that up myself." I'm like, "Okay."
This one, we put it up ourselves. She gets the credit for that.
But that's literally labor of love. It's like I'm hands on.
Right. No. Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said, I notice all the decor because I mean, if you see any of my social media stuff, I'm like, I have a Harry Potter home. Like I literally have a whole room dedicated to like Harry Potter stuff. So, but I look at shelves, I look at what things are on there and how it's placed and all. So I thought that the way that you guys had it designed was perfect in that it was comfortable, but also gave the feeling of cleanliness and clinical. So you did a great job with the mix of the clinical and the cozy. So I love that part. And then so maybe down the road you might have some packages for bridesmaids and bachelorette parties.
Hopefully.
Packages, memberships.
Memberships. That's a good idea too. So you like, how does that work with memberships? I mean, some of the more high end ones have memberships too, right?
I mean, when I say memberships, listen, we want this to be your home. So we don't want you to look any further. We want you to be comfortable as far as if you're already getting pedicures and manicures, hey, let's just make this your home. You get both, and we'll create some membership ideas.
Yeah, I like that idea too because, like I said, then you just pay your membership and you can make an appointment and come and go as you please. That would be outstanding, and that would definitely make people feel like it's their second home. I don't know. You might have a hard time getting rid of some people.
Really?
You're like, all right,
right.
We're closed now, hon. You got to move on out.
No, we're excited.
No, I think it's beautiful. Well, we are actually coming to another break. This goes by really fast, doesn't it?
It actually does, yeah.
Right. But we're not done yet. So everybody stay tuned because we're going to have more Bad Radio coming up after the break.
Welcome back to Bad Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most important investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. LibertyPropertyInspections.net, helping you protect your investment. I'd also like to thank a handful of other sponsors for making Bad Radio a reality. Fear No Storm with BoltzLegal.com, Crazy Muscle Nutrition, Imbalance Bodywork, Forge IT Consulting, and Body Street in Winter Park. So, if you guys need anything, just call me, and I'll be able to give you a referral. That's just the way that I roll because, we have so many amazing businesses that come on this show, And one of my favorite things in life is to pass referrals, like to say, let me send business to this person, or let me make this connection between these two parties. And like I said, that's just what makes me happy. That's why the show is so important to me, because this literally is a way to connect people. And another one of my favorite things is like the next day after it airs, when I get the call and it's like, hey, I had 2 people book. Or, that, I'm like, yes, happy dance. Happy dance time. Then I'm like, oh, my God, people are really listening. That's amazing. All right. So we've been talking about the 360 Medspa Collective for a while now. And like I said, during break, I'm like, this is when we kind of wrap everything up. But I was like, what else do we really want to talk about? And you said I could ask a little bit more about the details of, like, the manicure pedicure thing, because I'm really kind of into that. I don't have my nails on right now, which is very odd for me. But so tell us a little bit about, like, the different nail types that you do.
I'll tell you a little bit first. Like, when we developed the nail salon, I had to make sure I had the right nail technicians.
Right.
Not just providing the...
and trust me, I know that a bad tech there's nothing you can do. They're not all built the same.
So I had to make sure, like, number one, not just the sterilization, the cleanliness, but make sure, like, the service... The skill set is spot on. So the nail techs that we have, they all have experience with high-end hotels, and they have a vast experience with all different types of services. Shelby helped develop the menu as well. I'll touch on that as far as the different ones.
Yeah, so for our manicures, we just have 3 manicures, simple, classic, signature, luxury. We are doing like paraffin wax treatments. Nice. Yeah. And then for
does that really help, or does that just feel really good?
It's just for moisturizing. You get a wax around your foot.
It just feels good.
Yeah, it feels good. It looks good. You're getting something extra. But when we were just talking about your husband, and you were saying how men, either they feel weird going in or something always happens. We
had a bad experience, and like I said, it took his foot a little while to, like, heal, and so he was very, very gun shy about going back.
Yeah, which I feel like most guys are, because I go with my brother, and my brother just doesn't like walking in, 10 chairs, all these girls staring at him. You know what I mean? Like, I have to tell them what he would want, because he's like, don't let them put polish on, just stuff like that. So, it's nice because in our pedicure room, we have 2 chairs. It's 2 people, great for, like, couples.
That's actually, I like that.
Yeah.
Where are you going with that?
Yeah, it's just 2 chairs, door closes. It's huge with, like, the privacy. It's you and your person. Put on whatever you want on the TV.
So you don't have, like, the people in the mall walking by.
Staring at you.
The little kid with the lollipop staring at you.
Exactly. And I feel like that's always so weird for guys. We also have... a sports pedicure, which we're going to use the HyperIce devices, which is in the description of them.
It's more for, like, calluses and, just all the, you mentioned your son with baseball. Oh, my gosh, like, baseball players with the cleats, all the calluses they can get. So it's some guys, it's like, man, I just really don't need a big, my nails really done, but I just want my whole feet, like a foot massage, like a really good scrub and callus debrisement.
Right. I don't know about you guys, but when they get that little shavy thing out there, I'm like, no.
No, and actually,
I'm so
we don't
ticklish.
have that.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
okay.
that cheese grater. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
A cheese grater. I'm never going to be able to not see that now.
Cheese grater. If they whip out the cheese grater, I'm like...
No, but we have the same way I do surgery every week.
Right.
And when we scrub, just like before surgery, we scrub our arms. And for me, with my doing the foot and ankle surgeries, we do sterilizations and we do almost like an exfoliation before surgery, because
you kind of have to. That little thing's like, is it like
it's like a bristle.
So
it's a bristle, so it almost exfoliates and really disinfects everything just to prevent infection.
Right.
So everyone who goes to our facility is going to get that.
Right. That's really good.
Yeah.
So you did I hear you say that you do Gel X too?
Yep.
Okay.
Gel X. We're from the basic, just get your nails done, all the way up to you want designs.
You know what I didn't see? I didn't see a wall of polish.
It's up there.
It's up there.
Is there?
On the right.
I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
I was distracted, I guess. But so do you do regular polish as well as gel polish?
Regular polish, gel X, SNS, designs.
Have you ever heard of anybody? And I know it's common because it happened to me, but a gel allergy. Have you ever known anybody that I just developed a gel? That's why I don't have my nails on right now, is because out of the blue, I'm all of a sudden allergic to gel. And I have no idea. I mean, I think I did it to myself because I was like, you know what? I can do a better job than like a lot of these techs, because it's really good that you've sourced your techs, because like you go to one place and they look great. You go there this next time and they're like crooked and they don't look right. So I tried to do it myself and I ended up.
No, in the luxury also, if there's anything medically like concerning, I'm next door, so I supervise it. So So I'm right there to be able to double check everything. So,
what about like open hours? Do you do walk-ins at all?
There's no walk-ins. We have it built so the system where it's you book online, and I kind of explain that process. Yeah, where you simply book online. You know, we all the providers, and even Shelby as being the manager, she gets a notification. So we're prepared, and we do it that way because we want to provide a concierge feel.
Okay, that's the word I was looking for.
For example, if you book something, it gives us time. Where guess what? We know Angela wants coconut water with the lime. Guess what? We're gonna get you a coconut water with the lime when you walk in the door. Okay,
that's wonderful.
Yeah. We'll add a little prosecco to it if you need to.
That's very cool. And so I am very curious about so the sports one, is that one of the three, or is that in addition to the three that you're talking about, the levels?
So we have a sports pedicure. We also have one. I do a lot of surgeries, as I mentioned. But so before any surgery, we have a service where it's almost like a preoperative foot scrub.
Oh, so okay.
To get really clean the nails and so on.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And then as Shelby mentioned, the classic, the signature, and luxury. Those are like the three.
Right. I guess I was thinking.
But we have add-ons. So we have the base, but then you can do add-ons for any of the services. Okay.
Well, it sounds like you guys have got it all together, and I'm so excited to have you on here because I do remember when I saw Dr. Lewis post about stay tuned. We've got really cool stuff coming up. When I see stuff like that, I'm like, ooh, what's going on? I think that you guys have done a beautiful job with putting that together. And I'm super excited to see where it goes. And like I said, you'll probably see us booking some stuff there in the future.
Good.
Yeah, our home is your home.
So we're wrapping up the show, and what I'd like you guys to do right now is just Dr. Lewis, go ahead and give all the information for your practice.
So my medical practice is Foot and Ankle Sports Medicine Institute. We're very easily accessible. Our website's Foot Ankle Sports Med.
I've done it so many times.
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah, Foot and Ankle Sports Medicine Institute.
And Dr. Lewis.
Yeah,
he'll pop up.
Dr. Gideon Lewis. And then the Medspa is, as we mentioned, is 360 Medspa Collective.com.
Right. Well, like I said, you guys, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
It's been a blast. And I am Angela, and this is Bad Radio. And thank you so much for tuning in. And if you'd like to get more information on being on the show, you can email Angela@badradio.com. And you guys, as always, remember to support local.